Well, those things are always nice, and it's nice to be recognized, but the focus has to be on the business. Everything else is a distraction, especially if you try to build something really big and where the odds are not in your favor of succeeding. So you have to remove the clutter around you. So these occasions are nice, but still the focus has to be on the business.
Okay, tell me about your focus. You're CEO of Rimac Automobili. You're based in Croatia. This started because at about 19 years old, and that was only a couple of years ago, Mate, you were tinkering with engines, and then you suddenly came up with this electric technology.
Well, I was always trying to do something on my own. I was the national champion for electronics innovation when I was 17 years old. Had 2 patents before I was 18. And being from Croatia, I was always inspired by Nikola Tesla, who was also born in Croatia. And I believed at that time that electric cars can be so much more than people thought at that time. People were thinking that electric cars are something boring, dull, nothing sexy that somebody would like to buy. And I wanted to prove that electric cars can be more exciting and even faster than combustion engine vehicles, which was crazy at that time. But today, the opinion has changed a lot, so it's becoming more mainstream.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, with clean air targets, the electric vehicle industry is flourishing. So did you anticipate that?
Well, it's very obvious. Like, how many times in history can you be sure about something? Today, there is 1% of market share of electric cars globally, of new cars sold. And we know that's going to get 25, 40, 60%. Nobody knows what it'd be like in 2040 or 2050. There are different predictions, but we know it's going to be 10 times, 30 times, 50 times, and eventually 100%. So it will definitely shift. It's just a matter of timing. But there are also other changes. Like, it's one of the biggest industries in the world, so it takes time to change. But when it changes, it will change big time. Everything will be turned around.
Well, you're trying to disrupt the car industry, as we know, Mate, but you're also working with some of the biggest car manufacturers. You have, amongst others, Renault, you've got Jaguar, Aston Martin. Tell me about those collaborations.
Well, we make our own sports cars, but it's impossible to scale a company to mass-produce cars. If you look at Tesla, for example, they have raised $14 billion so far, 30,000 employees, and they're doing a great job. But it's very difficult to fight in the traditional business model. So what we are doing is providing technology to the bigger OEMs to help them shift to electrification sooner and build good, interesting new cars, where we want to go big. And with our own cars, we just want to show what is really possible, what the technology can do.
Now, recently, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry and Meghan, there was a wedding.
Yeah.
And when they left Windsor Castle, in that Jaguar E-Type, it was your technology in it.
Yeah, well, that's one of the examples. We really work close with a lot of the OEMs, and we don't consider anybody a competition. We want to work with everybody, helping them to go electric, because there's so much work to convert these 99% of the market to electric, that if there are like 100 companies like ours, it's still not enough to do all the work. So we work with Jaguar and many others to help them to go electric.
Was that a game-changing moment for you, though, when that happened? What was that like for you when you saw them in the car that you had transferred?
To be honest, I didn't even know. I was just looking at it and like, wow, that was really cool. And also quite interesting that they did that in a prototype. It was still a one-off, so yeah, it was really cool to see. And with the left-hand drive car.
You notice, of course. Now, you have over 350 employees. Your headquarters are in Croatia. Where would you like to expand to?
Croatia is, it was pretty much defining us also, because Croatia is one of the weakest economies in Europe. It's certainly really on the bottom in terms of auto industry. There is very high dependency on tourism. Of course, it's a beautiful country, but not so much for business. No high-tech economy whatsoever, almost, except a few exceptions. So it's really difficult to build a business like this, because there's no talent and no experience, not a single venture capital fund. So this was really difficult. But I always had this patriotic drive to keep it in Croatia, to build it up in Croatia. And I want to keep the core of the company in Croatia, but of course, as we expand globally, it's impossible to keep everything there. So we will have offices all around the world, R&D and production. We are opening up a facility now in China as well to serve the local Chinese market. But I would like to keep the core of the company inside Croatia, even though it's a little bit masochistic.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now, to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.